everyone, and welcome to Scrap Saturday. I hope you're all doing well. I hope that you're all safe. I know this is a few days before Saturday that I'm doing this voiceover. Today is actually Friday. I say a few days, but it's just one day. But I know that this weekend we are expecting some really crazy weather down south, and so it's a little bit somber for me this morning. I woke up and, I really don't watch the news too much, and I feel bad for saying that because sometimes I think it's just, I don't know if misreported is the word I want to use, but it's a bit of fear mongering, if I can say, right? And so there's such a lack of expression of love and kindness going on that all we see is fear and hopelessness. And that translates to more fear and more hopelessness. And so what I want to really say, and I thought, I could tell you about my layout and you can see, what I'm doing as I just chat quickly, but is just remember that there is so much love and so much kindness. I mean, just look at our community, just look at our little circle, and all of us on YouTube who have connected with each other and how supportive and kind and caring we are with each other with our, paper craft. Just that. Just let that, sink in and think about, how much we've come together over the last, 10 years. I've been on YouTube for 10 years now, and it's beautiful. There is love out there. And so sometimes we extend so much kindness towards others. We extend compassion and, for example, again, using scrapbooking, when we leave a comment, we tell each other how beautiful our work looks. But do we do the same to ourselves? When we look at our own scrapbook layouts, are we just as proud? Are we just as quick to give it a thumbs up and to leave that much love? And so for this weekend, when you are crafting, when you're taking time for yourself, remember that that is a form of self-love, that taking time to do something that you love, taking time to take a picture with your loved one, instead of just taking pictures of everybody else and everything else, instead of deconstructing what you look like, what you wish you looked like, what you wish was better, and because everybody else's Instagram tells you that everything else is perfect on the other side, or that everything else is ending and the world is coming to an end because there's no love, right? There's just a spectrum of either or. It's either everything is so perfect and amazing or everything's going to hell in a handbasket. And I don't think it's like that. I don't. And I think that you know me well enough to know that there are circumstances in my own life that could give me a validated reason to sit here and tell you that yes, the world is horrible and there's so many bad things that can happen. And yes, there can, but there's still so much love. And it has to start with you. It has to start with taking more pictures of yourself. Yes, because I said so. Because you're beautiful enough in this moment. You are perfect enough to be remembered. And that if you don't take enough pictures of yourself, nobody else will. You have to do it for yourself. You have to remind yourself to be kind to your work. Look at your layout and say, wow, that's spectacular. That's so beautiful. I love it. I love it for all the imperfection of the glue and the stickiness and the upside down stamping and everything else. And then you have to forgive yourself for all the times that you weren't kind and compassionate and caring, right? Because forgiveness is the hardest thing to do. Because forgiveness is so powerful that no one ever taught us how to do it. We only know how to say I'm sorry, but what does I'm sorry mean? So this is a picture of myself and Alan. This is when we were sitting out in a beautiful little, I don't know what you call it, an esplanade? Maybe not. I don't even know how to say it. You guys can fix me. And I've been fumbling with that word love, as you see how ironic, right? I did this last weekend and the word love was the one that gave me the most challenge on this page. I kept rotating it and rotating and not knowing where it needed to land. And so we sat here and we had ginormous beers. And I'm telling you, people in Europe, they know cold beer. And it just went down so nicely because we were lugging all of our bags and walking around the city, and it was quite warm. And just in that moment, it was so nice to just sit. And that's all we did. We just sat there and we watched people because people watching is so fascinating. At least for us it was. And we sat in front of this gorgeous church and just admired the architecture and the courage it must have taken to build this structure, and the size and the magnitude of these wooden doors that were probably hand carved. And we just had a beer. It was that simple. It was that beautiful. So when I look at this picture, it was literally like, cheers, cheers, my love, to a good vacation without knowing the end or the outcome of what would happen. And it's awesome. And I really like that I added that deep blue striped background paper. It kind of grounded everything. And so at this point, I think this is where I'm going to decide to add some background color. I'm still putting little bits and pieces. I kind of like to do the top and bottom. You see that little explore with the geotag? It's not going to stay down there, but I kind of like it. I call it my magazine layout, where I kind of ground the bottom and I ground the top with a mismatching kind of directional tag. And all of these items that I'm using are from the Hip Kits still. I didn't mix and match. It's still the same one that I had opened way back in April, I think. And I love those palm leaves, or whatever kind of Hawaiian flair leaves those are. And I just thought the gold really picked up nicely because there is some gold on my summer tag. And it's just perfect. I use that citrus die cut to cover up my teal or turquoise sweater because I felt that the color was competing. So don't be afraid to cover up a little bit of your photos with overlaying pieces of die cuts just to bring in some more neutral, because the rest of the background was pretty good. And then the vacation time, I kind of put it there because I felt, one, that it looked good, but it also cut off a person that I didn't want in the photo. So sometimes when we don't have time to edit our photos, we can sort of do that with our die cuts and whatnot. So the love got stuck here in the corner, but then no, I wasn't happy with it. It's not where I wanted love to go, but I didn't want to let go of it either. It was so funny because at some point I did tell myself, you know, Monica, maybe you shouldn't put it on the layout. It's just not going anywhere. But on that top corner, that's where it settled. So I haven't glued down my whole cluster, and I've been doing this, you know, for the last few since I've come back to scrapbooking. I haven't been gluing down my center layout, and I kind of like it. It's easier for me in a sense to get back to what I need to. But at the same time, I never really decide until this exact moment. So here I am again with a pencil, and what I'm doing is I'm making little X's just to let me know where I'd like my misting or my smooshing to land. And so I'm just dropping the, excuse me, the mist down where I think I need it to start the blobbing stage. And I love it. I love the way the teal picks up on this. It's not really a yellow chevron. It's more like a gold tone chevron background piece of paper. It is very busy on the eyes, but I love it. It's soothing in the end. I think it works well with the colors in the photo. I think the photo has really good lighting. I didn't have a good exposure for printing it because I printed it with my old, what is it? My PictureMate. So it's not from my Canon selfie. But I refuse to reprint the photos because there are some grainy little lines through it, but I just loved it. Again, this one was really easy. This was a very quick, fast layout for me, and I loved it because I started to get myself into that groove of just coming back to scrapbooking. So yeah, I'm sorry. I started out really deep, but sometimes I think it's my job. I think it's my duty. I have a platform, right? There's enough of you out there that, you know, we send each other hugs and kisses, and I thank you so much for all the love and kindness and all the welcome backs that I got in my last video. And I just think that sometimes when we are given these platforms where we can speak and we can share messages, this is where I'm speaking from too, right? It's my job to remind you that there's so much love out there, so much love, and that we're not disconnected from Earth. No, we are using paper every day in our hobbies, and paper comes from trees, and trees come from nature, and nature comes from Earth. And you've heard all that before, right? So why the disconnect for us? You know, we're allowing the Earth to die because we've forgotten where we've come from, right? We didn't come from our moms and dads. We came from the world. We are the world. And so starting to care for yourself and giving yourself self-love. Practicing that, practicing time, make time for yourself. Do not feel guilty. Take pictures with yourself and with your loved ones. And remember that even through the worst storms that we go through, there is always love at the end. I promise. Big hug, guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see you very, very soon.